In the Bleachers on Twitter, Michael Felder joining us now on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Felder, what's up, man?
Listen, here's the only thing I worry about the Reese's penis is the ratio.
Okay.
I think the egg, Reese's egg at Easter is the perfect ratio.
Thank you.
And so I just don't know. Listen, unless we're talking a squat one where you don't have the peanut butter to chocolate ratio that you want. That's it. That's all I'm worried about.
I'm with you on that. Now look, I'm more peanut butter to chocolate. Like around Easter, they'll actually sell a Reese's egg that's like a pound. You've seen which one I'm talking about, right? That's like all peanut butter.
Big boy.
That's the big boy. So that's probably that's the one that you would see in an adult film version of a Reese's penis. I would eat that one. I have no problems with that.
What about the Christmas tree?
Christmas tree's probably more of like your average one. You know? That's probably whatever the actual.
You're saying you want more peanut butter?
I want more peanut butter.
Yeah,
better ratio.
More peanut butter. Yeah, the ratio. Wait, do you not want more peanut butter? You want more chocolate?
I kind of like just the hint of the peanut butter.
So you
like
just want M&Ms.
So then you would go micro penis Reese's.
Potentially.
That's what you would get.
Potentially. Just lost Felder.
Good. All right, Felder. So tonight,
Tennessee's going to be number 1, right?
Yeah, I expect Tennessee to be number 1. I mean, how can they not be number 1 is the real question. They're undefeated, which is part of the criteria, but they also have the best win of anybody else in the country, and they should be number 1. Like, I guess the question I would pose to you is, give me a reason they shouldn't be number 1.
No, I'm looking at strength of record, my new favorite stat. They're number 1 in strength of record, so I would expect them to be number 1 tonight. Not only that, they dominated the hell out of not only the last thing we saw in Kentucky, but LSU. Like, some of those wins, they just get better with each week. They kind of age, and you're like, now all of a sudden you look back at, oh my gosh, look what they did to LSU. And then you start looking, look what LSU is doing to Ole Miss. And they got their act together. So I would expect that. Do you think, and I'm going to be interested in how this plays out, do you think they will have Alabama in front of any unbeaten teams in this poll?
Yes, I do.
TCU or only TCU, or is there going to be a Michigan in there, to much to my delight?
I think that TCU, Michigan, Clemson are 3 teams that are kind of sitting on the bubble of will Alabama be ahead of them? That's the question. Those are the 3 teams, and I'll tell you what, and I'm glad that this is a show that's rooted in North Carolina, even though we have a million transplants, because I'm so sick of Michigan fans popping in and being like, well, look how much time of possession we have. Like, if your number 1 stat that you want to lead with is time of possession, guess what? You guys suck.
Just not going to drink that while Felder's on this program. It's not a good idea.
Yeah. Giulio's been dealing with some Michigan fans on social media as of late. All right, so what I'm curious about is, how is the committee going to value the ACC strength of schedule for Clemson? Because I've been sitting here getting mad in that we just can't act as though Clemson hasn't beaten good teams in the ACC. I know what the narrative is. I know how we talk about the ACC, but they beat ranked ACC squads on their way to this week. A ranked NC State before Devin Leary went out with injury. They went on the road and beat a good Wake Forest team who, up until this implosion at Louisville, was number 10 in the country, okay? Syracuse was riding the hot hand. They beat them. Like, you're beating 4 ranked teams out of the Atlantic. A little respect on the ACC, but apparently we can't have that conversation.
Well, I think it's a great conversation to have. I think what you have to do is look through, each one of those has to be parsed individually. North Carolina State, none of us were thrilled with where they were with Devin Leary. Is that fair?
Yep, totally agree.
And then without him, ooh, buddy, wow. They're a team that's lost in the woods right now, and they're trying to figure it out.
We'll know everything that they think of Clemson based on that bottom, those 15 through 25 slots.
Yes.
Will Syracuse be there? Will State be there? I mean, Wake's going to be there. Will Florida State be there?
That's a perfect way to put it, because that's a great way, because it's one of those things where, and I say this a lot about quarterbacks. They tell you a coach will tell you what he thinks of his quarterback by what he doesn't let his quarterback do. And when it comes to ranking the ACC, they'll tell us what they think about Clemson and what they think about those wins by where they put these teams in the back end of this college football playoff. That's completely spot on. I totally agree.
Michael Felder joining us here on the OG alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovius. He's on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Check him out on Field of 12 podcast, Stadium, In the Bleachers, on Twitter, Hand in the Dirt podcast. And check out the Felder newsletter that breaks out a lot of fun stuff and gives you recipes along the way. Speaking of Clemson, we actually discussed this a little bit yesterday. Is there a recipe that North Carolina is going to go to the Coastal? They're going to win the Coastal Division.
Sure.
I mean, come on. They got Virginia and Georgia Tech left. I know.
Felder and I over here getting along so well. Now all of a sudden you want to do this to us?
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm an agent of
chaos. Wait, Joe. Do you think UNC is not going to win the Coastal?
No. You and I see Carolina a little bit differently, but maybe they've changed your mind.
That's the thing. Where do you see? That's what I was getting at. With Drake Maye doing what he's doing, he's putting up numbers. I don't think he's going to win the Heisman, but I can see him being invited to New York if this continues. What are you making a face for?
Are you serious?
About what?
Him going to New York City?
Yeah, he'll go to New York City. He's putting up numbers.
Insane.
He's putting up numbers, man. He'll go to New York City, and they're going to win.
Who's watching him?
Well, that's to Giglio's point. He doesn't have a moment. He can put up numbers all day, but nobody's really watching him. And
There's a lot of guys. There's guys from the MAC that put up numbers. There's guys.
All right.
Guys put up numbers all the time. It's not about it. Are they in contention or not?
Well, right now they are in contention. They've got one loss. They could go one loss to the ACC championship game.
No, timeout.
What?
You think they're in contention?
Contention for the ACC? Yes. A New Year's Six bowl game? Absolutely.
Okay, fine. Okay.
No, you don't think so?
Let Giglio, can you get my back on this? Can you get my back on this one?
I brought you guys together. See, I brought you guys together.
So we have Bryce Young, we have C.J. Stroud,
yeah,
we have Blake Corum,
yes,
well, right. So we have three.
Young's been hurt.
Hendon Hooker, you're gonna bring him up, right?
Sure, we have Hendon Hooker.
Yeah.
So we have four. We have four guys already.
Mm-hmm.
So you think Drake Maye is the fifth?
Yeah, I could see that. You know, Mac Brown's the coach. People like Carolina. He could talk him up. Never underestimate the Mac Brown bump, dude. The Mac Brown bump gets you a preseason top 10 when people have serious questions about you. I'm just saying. That's a factor.
Okay.
But let's get to the central question.
Max Duggan. Caleb Williams.
Let's get to the central question, though, about Carolina. Based on what you've seen so far, incremental improvements on defense, even though their competition has been can they hang with Clemson in a championship game?
I don't think it's about hanging with Clemson. I think UNC is one of those, and this is the big thing. So obviously, here's the thing. I've crystallized on what I think college football is right now. It's teams that want to score 24 and win that way.
Mm-hmm. That would be NC State.
Yes, and teams that want to score 40 or more and win that way.
Which is Carolina.
They're a team that clearly wants to score 40. Mm-hmm. And then there are teams that can, and this is the difference. This is the difference between Iowa, Wisconsin, and whether it's Alabama or Georgia or whoever.
Don't make me laugh.
Where it's teams that want to score 24 and win, but can score 50 and win.
Mm-hmm.
Or in the case of Alabama against Tennessee, score 49 and lose.
Sure.
But I just,
You're putting them in pain.
I noticed this. We can go back to talking about peanut butter to chocolate ratios if you want.
No. I'm good. I just
damaging the man's soul.
With UNC, they're a team. You mentioned incremental improvements on defense.
Yes.
And I like some of the pieces. I don't think that the parts are. I think the parts are greater than the sum of the whole. And that's the part that's frustrating to me because defense, more than anything, offense, you could have a two-man offense where it's just a quarterback and a wide receiver and he throws it up and the guy gets it done. But defensively, you can't have one-man guys or a couple guys getting the job done.
Sure.
It has to be an 11-person process, and that's the difference, and I still don't see that when I watch UNC.
And this is ultimately, you and I do come into agreement here in that Carolina's in a weird position where I can see them winning the rest of their games because it's not just Drake Maye and one wide receiver, Josh Downs. It's Drake Maye and a bunch of wide receivers.
Yes.
They're actually a very deep group. Antoine Green had a great game against Pitt. They can win any game, they can lose any game. That's where the defense is right now.
Bingo.
And that's a maddening thing to try to figure out with Carolina. So right now all you can really do is sit back and just watch, see how things are going to play out. But I can't envision them winning the rest of their games.
Oh, I can too. I just the Clemson game for me, with a Clemson team that we know is defensively, they're not where they have been before.
Yeah.
But up front, guess what? They got a bunch of guys that show up front with their shirts pulled up. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, hey man, just so you know, we all have abs. we all got abs.
I don't, because of all the Reese's that I ate last night.
But Clemson's got they got a defensive line. They got a front. Clemson, I don't trust their secondary as much as I have in the past.
Yeah.
But Clemson has a front seven full of Mr. Steal Your Girls.
I like how you put that. I like how you put that. Michael Felder, Field of 12 podcast, hit Hand in the Dirt podcast. Check out the newsletter, In the Bleachers on Twitter. All right, man, we'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. It's always great to talk to you guys. Take it easy.
And welcome back.